All right, everybody. Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started today. Thank you all for coming to the event today. It's our privilege to welcome you. I'm Brian Abernathy, the city's managing director. Today marks a couple of occasions. One, we're very privileged to be here today to talk about a beautiful mural at Kensington and Lehigh, but we're also here to celebrate a one-year anniversary of the goals that we set for the Resilience Project. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started to kick off with Mayor Jim Kenney.
Thanks, Brian, and welcome, and thank you all for coming today to this important occasion to dedicate this beautiful mural you see right behind me. The transformation of this bridge is not only beautiful, like all of Philadelphia mural arts community projects, it's also incredibly meaningful to this neighborhood and many of us who are gathered here today. As you probably know, the underpass here at Kensington and Lehigh was once the site of a very large encampment. Dozens of people experiencing homelessness, including many who were also struggling with substance use disorder, sought shelter under this bridge. The conditions were unsafe and taking a terrible toll on the neighborhood. We knew we needed to humanely close all the large encampments and provide shelter for everyone who was staying here and ready to accept help. So the beautification of this space 1 year later means a great deal to all of us. And I think I can speak on behalf of all my colleagues with the city when I say that we are proud of what this mural represents. It represents how resilient Philadelphians are, and it represents how much we care about our neighborhoods and that we will never turn a blind eye to communities in distress. Today is also meaningful for us for another reason. Exactly 1 year ago today, I stood with our team from Managing Director's Office, Office of Emergency Management, and representatives from more than 30 other city agencies to share the goals we established for the Philadelphia Resistance Project. This emergency response was necessary last year. The opioid crisis was and still is the worst public health crisis we've seen in our lifetimes. Despite the vast efforts and investments by the city, the mayor's task force to combat the opioid epidemic, and countless partners, it was apparent that our approaches were not working fast enough. So the Philadelphia Resilience Project was born, and we're proud of what this initiative has accomplished so far. I'd like to acknowledge Managing Director Brian Abernathy, First Deputy Managing Director Tumar Alexander, and Noel Foysen, Deputy Director of OEM, for their leadership as well as everyone who makes this emergency response possible. Thanks to Jane Golden and the entire mural arts team for this beautiful public art and for always going above and beyond to bring arts to our neighborhoods. Also want to acknowledge City Council, including Council members Maria Quinones-Sanchez and Mark Squilla, who could not be here today, but have consistently been tireless advocates and change agents for their districts. Before I bring up Brian to share more about the progress Resilience has made toward achieving these goals, I'd like to continue to make a commitment that we will never walk away from this neighborhood. We will never forget this neighborhood, and we will always continue to try to improve everything we can in this neighborhood to get us back where we want this neighborhood to be. So God bless you all, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor Kenney. Before we hear from Jane Golden and Mural Arts, I'd be remiss not to take the opportunity to provide an update on the Resilience Project. As the mayor mentioned, we announced our goals 1 year ago today to tackle this enormous challenge. The Resilience Project was born from a need for this city and other stakeholders to approach the opioid crisis and the challenges facing our community differently. We were already spending tens of millions of dollars on police, EMS, behavioral health services, increasing shelter beds, naloxone distribution, clearing encampments, picking up needles, dumping, sealing vacant houses. And despite all of these efforts, the challenges in Kensington and the surrounding communities continued. Hundreds of individuals who were homeless and addicted to opioids, thousands of discarded needles, unsanitary living conditions, and an environment that no one should be forced to live in. It required increased collaboration, coordination, and focus on the city's part, as well as bringing more stakeholders to the table. It required us to listen and to respond to community members and providers, and it forced us to have hard conversations where different perspectives were heard and a path forward was forged together. The key to this work has been about balance, how to treat the needs of those afflicted with addiction while also addressing the challenges facing this community. We haven't always gotten it right, but we've learned to adjust quickly. There is now a new normal for delivering services and addressing these complex issues. We announced the Resilience Project's goals last year. They were ambitious, and while we have made a great deal of progress, all you have to do is look around and see that we have a long way still to go. I'd like to take a quick moment to say thank you to the team that made the work possible, Tumar Alexander and Noel Foysen, who took care of the day-to-day activities to make sure that we stayed on track, and all the executive team and mission area leads. The political leadership of Representative Hohenstein, Councilmember Squilla, and Councilmember Sanchez, and maybe most importantly, I'd like to thank our community leaders who have held us accountable, demanded honest answers, and spurred action throughout the process. The Resilience Project is a team of over 35 agencies across the city, and the work they've accomplished is impressive. We've successfully and humanely cleared all major encampments, and none of those were reoccupied. We connected 3/4 of all those people in encampments to services, and more than half are now housed or in treatment. We've increased safety measures for our children. We've implemented police-assisted diversion, installed 1,000 LED streetlights. I'm going to try and finish before the next one comes. Launched a warrant initiative resulting in hundreds of arrests, expanded the business security camera program through the Department of Commerce, reduced the number of unsheltered by more than 20%, established a 24-hour navigation center, dedicated emergency and temporary housing for people with opioid-driven homelessness, recruited individuals with lived experience to assist with daily cleaning, conducted nearly a dozen community cleanups with almost 1,000 volunteers, removed more than 589 tons of trash and 824 abandoned vehicles, and so much more. We've addressed the hepatitis A outbreak by providing 3,500 vaccines this year alone, added restrooms and portable hand washing stations, and conducted nearly 2,500 HIV tests. We've launched the alternative response unit for the Philadelphia Fire Department, and have continued working with First Step staffing to connect individuals in recovery to entry-level employment. And finally, we've created a dedicated Philly 311 unit for specialized Kensington Fairhill information, and continue to host community and civic meetings to make sure that we stay on track. And while this issue is still daunting, we know we're helping people. We know we're saving lives. In 2018, there was an 8% reduction in fatal overdoses compared to 2017. And the sharpest reductions were in Kensington. That's progress. Not enough progress and not fast enough, but it's real progress. We wouldn't be here without all the people you see standing there to the side. We wouldn't be here without the surrounding community, and we certainly wouldn't be here without our elected officials. And for them, I can't thank you enough. We're not done yet. We have a lot more work to go. We have a lot more healing to do in this community, but know that the city is dedicated to making sure that it happens. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to someone who I've always learned to speak before rather than after, because I can never present as much energy as Jane Golden.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Brian. So we feel very honored and humbled to be part of this huge village that has brought these profound changes to this part of the city. So we're here, we're celebrating this beautiful mural. Thank you, Henry Bermudez. Can we have a round of applause for an extremely talented artist who works internationally but lives in Philly, in Kensington, close by, and his great team. And but also all the things that Brian spoke of, which is really overwhelming. When I hear that list of accomplishments over a year, it is really stirring, and it makes me feel so proud to be part of this city and this administration. Thank you, everyone who helped make the changes possible. And this mural is really about resilience. And there's something really powerful about art. I know that I am biased, but I think it is extraordinary that we are in a city with over 4,200 works of art that grace the sides of buildings everywhere. And when you impact the environment, you inevitably impact the lives of people who are there. But what distinguishes our city from cities everywhere who are now doing public art and murals, it's like happening, it's contagious, good things are contagious, is that the murals in Philadelphia represent, reflect, resonate, and look like the citizens who are there. So Henry and Sean and Brian, the team at Mural Arts, worked carefully and tirelessly with the community to come up with this design that represents the sort of that incredible human spirit that will just go on in spite of obstacles. And we've had the pleasure of working in Kensington thanks to our partner, the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services. We have a storefront not too far from here, the Kensington storefront. And I'm happy to say that every month over 950 people come through this storefront for art making, for weaving, for drawing, for spoken word, for theater, but also a range of social services, visiting nurses from Drexel, information about where to get a bed or treatment. Because at the end of the day, we understand how important the word resilience is, and if people are not resilient, if they don't have a sort of a grit, if they can't recognize their own self-worth and potential, then it is harder to step away from the seduction of the streets. And art is part of that. Art is part of how people recognize all they have to give in the world, because for 20 years, we have seen the genius and the potential that resides in people that has sadly, too often, gone unrecognized. And we say change it in every way possible. Art is not the only way of working clearly, but I think that murals and public art and art making show us the catalytic role that creativity can play in the life of a city. So when you partner our work with all the wonderful work you're doing, we can see change. And we always have this saying at Mural Arts, and that is that art ignites change. And I really feel that, okay, that's true, right? And I jump up and down when I say it, but I believe that art in partnership with all that we're doing, that is where the real change happens. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting us to be part of all you're doing. And I want to acknowledge, I won't be introducing him, but Henry Bermudez, it's so wonderful that you're working with us. Thank you. Oh, hundreds of artists are employed in Philly every year, giving back to the community, making our city beautiful. Artists are change agents. And Sean Durbin, who is in our Guild program, who is now in our alumni program, who is giving back and is a model of resilience and grit. We love you. We support you. The Guild is a great program. It's for people impacted by the criminal justice system. Again, let's give people every opportunity and option possible, and we will see people fly. Thank you. Oh, and some other thank yous. Wait. I want to thank our wonderful mayor, and he's so great. And of course, Brian Abernathy, Tumar, and Joanna Otero Cruz. Where are you? She has really been just the heart behind this project. She's like, we're doing this underpass. I'm like, you got it, Joanna. We're doing it. It was a big drama, but we were able to overcome, because that's what we do. We want to thank City Council members Sanchez and Squilla, the Philadelphia Resilience Project, and Clip. We love Clip. Henry and Sean, and our other Guild members, Aaron Falk, Francisco Gomez, William Hauser, and Tyria McCrae, Brian Campbell and Gabby Raska. Thank you, your long-distance runners, the Mural Arts crew, they're everywhere. And thank you to the Mural Arts team at the storefront, and thank you, DBH. Okay, that's it, thanks.
So there's no way I can actually introduce either Henry or Sean better than Jane already introduced them. So I actually do want to say, Henry has the opportunity to live anywhere in the country or in the world. He's a world-renowned artist that has chosen to make his life in Philadelphia, and we appreciate it. You provide your gift to the city every day, and it's my pleasure to introduce Henry Bermudez. Thank you, sir.
Oh, this is the most difficult part of making mural, talk in public. Okay, here we go. When I was called to be given this opportunity, for me it was a real challenge, because making mural in this area was not easy because of the situation that we all know. I had to have the clear, specific point what I'm going to do in these murals, what I'm going to represent. I had to choose one or two ideas just to develop the project. And I choose clouds and birds that for me was the symbolism of the freedom and the cleanness that people in the situation that we all know are struggling with. I have the situation for the previous experiences in my family. I know what that means. And for me, it was a very touching team opportunity because I was connected with situations that were familiar to my life. Thank you, Jane Gordon, for this opportunity. Thank you, Brian Camber, for being my director manager of this project. We work very well. And thank you very much, especially to Sean, who was my right hand in this project, who I delegate a lot of responsibility to help me to finish this mural. Thank you, everybody, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Sean? Sean, it's your turn. Come over.
Special thanks to Henry Bermudez for letting me join this team and creating an impact in a spot of the city that actually needs it. To me, these birds behind us are birds that was once tethered down to the ground, dealing with issues such as homelessness, mental health, drug addiction. But through certain organizations like the ones that are here today, are helping these people take flight and realize they have possibilities. They're helping these people sever these ties. This mural I feel very, very connected with because me, myself, I'm one of these birds. I deal with mental health issues. I deal with homelessness. I deal with, family members being on drugs and how to deal with that. And so the mural really speaks intimately to me. There are a lot of buildings out here that are beacons of hope. The Kensington storefront, which let people come through there and express themselves through activities such as weaving and making pieces of artwork and music. Rock Ministries, which feed a lot of these people dealing with the drug addictions on this block. The Last Stop, where actually a lot of AA meetings go on. There are beacons of hope out here for these people, and they are taking flight every day, just like these birds in this mural, reaching their potential. Hopefully, I will work on future projects that will have much more of an impact, just like this mural here. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to come up here and speak. Special thanks to Jane Golding, Lindsay, Brian Campbell, Will Cooper, R&R Equipment, which always let us get water to clean our brushes, in the city of Philadelphia. I can't forget the Resilience Project. Hopefully I work with y'all again on projects like this that actually has a meaning that's tangible. You can feel it, and you can see the effect it's having around here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sean and Henry. We have one more speaker. I think Jolene Pillay. I'm going to mispronounce her last name. Piliero? Jolene? How badly did I butcher it? Pillero. It's much easier than it's written on my paper. Come on up. From Pathways to PA. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like you said, my name's Jolene, and believe it or not, 1 year ago today was one of the people that was under this bridge in one of those encampments. I myself, I suffered a severe drug addiction at the time, and I'm sorry. And it is so wonderful to be here just 1 year later and see the difference, how much more beautiful this area has become. The murals on the wall, that it's absolutely just such a 180-degree turnaround from where I was and where this place was just 1 year ago today. Believe it or not, Friday will be 1 year where I actually was hit by a car. Yeah, no, it was the best thing. One of the worst things that could have happened to anybody. It was the best thing that happened in my life. Pathways to Housing got me to sit down long enough at the hospital, of course, but to listen to an opportunity that they gave me that I had given up on to get housing, and they're helping me get back in school, and I'm clean now for a year because of their help. So, believe it or not, that mural, the birds being tethered down and growing, you know, spreading their wings and flying, it really can be done. And with everybody's help, I'd like to thank everybody for everything, because if it wasn't for that opportunity, I'd still be where I was. And of course. Anyway, I just hope that this program grows and more people can benefit, and the city can benefit even more so than what they already have, which is unbelievable already. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Jolene. It is easy for us to sit downtown in City Hall or in the MSB building and forget about the impact that we're having. And so coming to events like this, hearing folks like Jolene and Sean speak, it helps ground me in why we do what we do. So I want to thank both of y'all for being here today and for speaking and for sharing your stories. I'm going to bring up one last speaker. He's kind of my right-hand guy. He's the guy who keeps me sane, one, and also make sure that I get work done. So Tumar Alexander, my first deputy.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Let me also thank Jolene and thank Pathways. Give Jolene another round of applause. Hearing about success stories like Jolene is why we continue to do this work. While I'm fortunate to be the person that's up here that'll talk to you about what's next in resilience, I also want to acknowledge all of the folks to the right who are actually the muscle behind Project Resilience. So could all of the staff who worked on resilience sort of raise your hand? We also have some other partners out here who are part of resilience. We have some folks from the school district, some folks from the community. So HASE representatives, thank you. Shift Capital representatives, thank you. Thank you for hosting us. Prevention Point and others who are out here. Let me talk to you about what's next in terms of resilience between now and December. We'll continue to focus our efforts on, one, working with the community and establishing cross-sector partnerships to sustain the work beyond 2019. We're working to finalize and implement new strategies to disrupt the public sale and use of narcotics down here. Is something we hear from the community each and every day. It's something we hear in the meetings we go to, something we just hear as we're walking the streets of Kensington and other areas of the city. So our brothers in law enforcement will continue to work on that and continue to help us. We'll continue sort of refining that strategy and hopefully come up with something that's actually giving help to this neighborhood and others. We'll continue raising public and private funding to leverage the city's investment and support the work of community partners, developing and implementing 3-year community and economic development plan for the Kensington and Fair Hill area, expanding successful aspects of the work into other neighborhoods with similar needs, coordination with the implementation of the Philadelphia Roadmap for Safer Communities, our citywide violence prevention strategy, supporting the establishment of overdose prevention sites, reducing barriers to treatment, as well as expanding access to medical assisted treatment and warm handoffs in this community. While we've started this work over a year ago and we're out here celebrating some of the successes of the work, like Brian said, like the mayor said, and others, we know that more work continues. We know we have a lot more work to do in this neighborhood. We're very grateful for the community residents, for all of the community organizations, just for all of the partners who've lent us support, of course, the elected officials who others have mentioned, but we're just thankful for everybody for all your support and know that this work will continue. Thanks. Now we'll take questions from the media if anyone has any. Great. Thank you all.